Throughout history, the emperors of China have been revered as figures of immense power and authority. Their reigns have been marked by both great achievements and devastating failures. However, beneath the surface of their luxurious palaces and elaborate rituals, a darker side often lurked. In the shadows of absolute power, numerous emperors indulged in acts of cruelty, tyranny, and sheer madness. From the burning of books and burying of scholars to the construction of the Great Wall on the backs of millions of laborers, the history of China is filled with examples of diabolical deeds committed by emperors. While their motives may have varied, the consequences of their actions were often catastrophic, leaving lasting scars on the nation's social fabric and cultural landscape. This video delves into the depths of this dark history, exploring some of the most chilling acts committed by Chinese emperors. We will unveil the secrets hidden within the Forbidden City walls, shedding light on the emperor's darkest impulses and the devastating impact they had on their people. Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor's obsession with immortality and absolute control led to the construction of the Great Wall and the Terracotta Army, projects that resulted in the deaths of countless laborers. Moreover, his fear of dissent led to the infamous burning of books and burying of scholars, a tragic event that nearly erased a significant portion of China's intellectual heritage. Qin Shi Huang ruled 221 to 210 BC, whose tomb with an army of lifelike terracotta soldiers is a big tourist attraction in Xi'an, China, was the first Qin emperor and the first emperor of China. Shi Huang in fact means first emperor. Qin Shi Huang, Shi Huangdi, Shi Huangti, Emperor Qin and other variations in spelling, ended the feudal states and organized China into a system of prefectures and counties under central control. For defense against nomadic Mongol-like tribes to the north, Shi Huangdi connected walls of the feudal states and built new walls to form what became the Great Wall. At the time of the Qin dynasty, the Yellow River had an irrigation system and extensive cultivation was taking place in the Yangtze Valley. It is estimated that at time China was home to around 40 million people. Emperor Qin ruled with an iron fist, ordering the burning of the teachings of Confucius and conscripting tens of thousands of people to construct roads, canals, and defensive walls. During the early stages of his rule, Emperor Qin Shi Huang consolidated his power not only among his vassals but also among local gods that presided over the vassal states by making sacrifices to these gods and climbing all the sacred mountains. Qin's legalist advisors imposed harsh laws and helped expand the emperor's power by arguing that people were inherently wicked and therefore needed to be controlled by the government. The Qin dynasty was short-lived, lasting only a few years beyond Emperor Qin's death. In an effort to weaken the feudal aristocracy by taking them away from their land, Qin transported 120,000 wealthy families from all over his empire to his capital in present-day Xi'an. In Xi'an, Qin showed off his power by building replicas of the palaces the aristocrats left behind. It is said Qin built an additional 270 palaces for himself, many of which were built in accordance with the layout of the stars. In all of China, Qin reportedly built 700 palaces, filled with treasures and beautiful women from all over China. Unfortunately, from an archaeological point of view, no remains of any of these palaces have survived. During the Qin dynasty, China primarily consisted of the agricultural areas along the Yangtze River, Yellow River and middle and lower reaches of the Pearl River. Mostly Han lived in these areas. Other areas were dominated by other ethnic groups, many of which were absorbed in varying degrees by Han Chinese in the centuries after Emperor Qin. Qin recruited competent administrators and ruled his kingdom through a vast network of hierarchical administrations that were overseen by provincial units run by governors appointed from Xi'an. He also kept a tight rein on the military. Only generals with the emperor's half of a split bronze tiger received permission to secure weapons and procure troops. He embraced legalism, a philosophy that emphasized strict laws and harsh punishments to maintain order. This led to widespread fear and suppression of dissent. In 213 BCE, Qin Shi Huang ordered the burning of books and burying of scholars who criticized his rule, aiming to control knowledge and suppress dissenting voices. This act severely damaged China's intellectual and cultural heritage. Emperor Han Wudi. Wudi's reign was marked by expansionist wars and brutal conquests that left a trail of devastation across Asia. He was also a relentless persecutor of those who opposed him, including scholars, religious figures, and even members of his own family. Emperor Han Wudi reigned from 140 BC to 87 BC. During his 54-year rule, the Han dynasty grew in strength and size. He expanded far into the steppes of Western Asia, Korea, and Vietnam. His trade policies helped establish the Silk Roads. He consolidated and centralized power as the Son of Heaven justified by the mandate of heaven. Wudi granted Confucian scholars significant power, establishing Confucianism as the state ideology. Under Emperor Han Wudi, an imperial academy was set up to train officials in the Confucian classics. The prestige of government posts rose, and in order to become government officials, men strove to display their learning and Confucian virtue. Emperor Wudi embarked on ambitious military campaigns that, while expanding the empire's territory, led to immense bloodshed and suffering. He became increasingly paranoid and prone to believing in prophecies and superstitions. This led to witch hunts and the persecution of innocent people accused of witchcraft. His court was rife with intrigue and power struggles, with family members often vying for favor and positions of power. This resulted in numerous deaths and purges. After the death of her husband, Emperor Gaozu of Han, Empress Liu Ji consolidated power by eliminating rivals and opponents, including members of the imperial family. She was notorious for her cruelty, resorting to torture and brutal executions to maintain her grip on power. She was known for her controlling nature and manipulative tactics, often using her position to influence decision-making and ensure her own interests were met. Despite inheriting a prosperous empire, Emperor Han Jingdi's reign saw a decline in economic conditions due to his imposition of excessive taxes and wasteful spending. His court was riddled with corruption and incompetence, leading to dissatisfaction and unrest among the people. He was criticized for his lack of leadership and decisiveness, often relying on advisors and neglecting his responsibilities. Han Jingdi was known for his extravagant lifestyle and indulgence in pleasure. He spent lavishly on himself and his favorites, neglecting his duties and draining the treasury. He surrounded himself with flatterers and advisors who indulged his desires and furthered their own agendas, leading to rampant corruption and abuse of power. He was largely indifferent to the suffering of the people, focusing on his own enjoyment and neglecting the needs of the empire. These are just a few examples of the darker aspects of the Han dynasty. It is important to remember that history is not always black and white, and even the most successful dynasties had their share of flaws and shortcomings. Empress Wu Zetian, the only woman to rule China in her own right, Wu Zetian's path to power was paved with intrigue, manipulation, and ruthlessness. She eliminated rivals, silenced dissent, and used her position to consolidate power and control over the country. Empress Wu Zetian was a complex and controversial figure who ruled China for over 20 years. While she is lauded for her intelligence, political acumen, and cultural patronage, her reign was also marked by ruthlessness and violence. Wu Zetian's path to power was paved with the blood of her enemies. She used poison, assassination, and exile to eliminate any threat to her position, including members of her own family. Although she was initially a patron of Buddhism, Wu Zetian later turned against the religion and persecuted its followers. She also brutally suppressed any form of dissent against her rule. The court of Empress Wu Zetian was rife with intrigue and power struggles. She was known for manipulating others and playing them off against each other to maintain control. Wu Zetian's reign was marked by lavish spending and extravagant lifestyle. This contributed to economic instability and widespread discontent among the people. She was a powerful advocate for women and encouraged their education and participation in government. She appointed several women to high positions, including the post of prime minister. China experienced a period of economic growth and stability during Wu Zetian's reign. She also patronized the arts and literature, and her court produced some of the most significant works of Chinese history. Wu Zetian's military campaigns led to the expansion of the Chinese Empire, extending its borders and influence. Empress Wu Zetian remains a complex and controversial figure in Chinese history.